Good morning and welcome to Ask Mason, our show where every couple weeks I try to answer all your questions that's going on in our community. We always want to be very, very transparent. If I don't have any questions that I want to go over, sometimes I bring in guests, and that's what I did this morning. We're very fortunate to have our chief of the fire department, Jason Currier. Chief Currier, thank you for being here with us.
Good morning, my pleasure.
Appreciate it. Last time we were together, we were laughing about this. We were riding around in the back of one of the fire trucks.
Yes, sir.
And that was a lot of fun.
Always fun, yeah.
Man, I tell you, that's hard to beat. I can see why little kids want to grow up and be firemen, right?
Absolutely.
So,
big kids, too.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a fun event. But we've been working on a project here in Enid for 8 months, 9 months maybe?
As a committee, yes, almost a year. The conversation actually began almost 2 years ago.
2 years ago,
yes,
that's
sir.
right. And you'd actually, early on, brought that. I remember talking about that a couple years ago, but we finally put a committee together to talk about ambulance service. And that's something that I think general public just thinks you pick up the phone, call 911, you expect them there immediately, right?
Absolutely. Emergency services, that's the way it should work, and we try to make it work that way, but it's not always a perfect system.
Right. And for several reasons, we've had some challenges here in Enid with our ambulance service. Not necessarily with our ambulance service, but with the whole system. Yes. Would you agree?
Yes, sir.
I sat down, I just jotted down. I've learned more about an ambulance service in the last several months than I ever began to know. Those aren't simple issues to fix, is what I've figured out.
Not by any means, no. There's a lot to it. And similar to any government agency like the fire or police departments, the funding, it's all complicated. I mean, Medicare, Medicaid, insurance, billing, collections, all the challenges that come with operating a business and regulations. There's just a lot of government involved, and they definitely have their challenges.
They do, but our job, yours and mine, is make sure that we have good response times and that whenever our citizens have an emergency, that we're there.
Yes,
right?
Sir, as quickly as possible.
And I'll first say, boy, your teams are always there immediately. That's pretty impressive. We had to call the ambulance a couple times for my parents. I'll never forget, man, your teams were there. It was just scary how fast they could be there. So I've always appreciated that. So thank you.
That's what we do our best.
I wanted the general public really to understand a couple things. One, that we're working on it. We're going to try to have some kind of a master plan sometime in the first quarter of 2026, which is actually a pretty quick turnaround time.
Yeah.
I know. I know.
Change doesn't happen quickly.
It does not.
Good change does not happen quickly.
I don't like to analyze stuff for so long that we forget about what it was that we were trying to analyze. Right. And so we'll get something rolled out there and get started on it. And my personality, I don't mind trying something. And if we have to back up and make some changes, we'll just do that. But having sat on this committee now, I realize there's a lot of staffing issues that come up with this. You can't just go get anyone, can you?
Correct.
To hire them this afternoon, put them in the back of an ambulance.
No, that's correct. All the levels of personnel that work in the ambulance service, they all have different licensure levels, different levels of education come with that, and continued education. Qualified people are hard to find, hard to keep. It's a competitive market, just like anything else. Where you're trying to provide a quality service, you have to have quality people, and that comes with its own set of challenges.
Mm-hmm. So you could go out and purchase as many trucks as you wanted, but you've got to have a staff on there and to be able to run 24/7. Absolutely.
Scheduling does add to the hurdles of keeping good people. Mm-hmm. Emergency services isn't a stranger to working weird shifts, 24-hour shifts through the night, weekends, holidays. We accept that as part of the deal. We know we're going to spend time away from our families, miss holidays and things like that. But again, it can definitely wear on people if you start to get into short staffing issues and they're having to work a lot of overtime. It starts to compound, and that's what we've seen recently. And I hate to pile on COVID, but that was a very significant event to emergency services. The overwhelming number of calls, fatalities, just the workload on people in emergency services alone was so significant that hospitals across the country, ambulance services across the country, fire services, police departments, we all suffered personnel-wise. We lost a lot of our own.
Burnout, wasn't there?
Absolutely. We lost a lot of our own because they were exposed to a lot of the COVID patients. But absolutely, the burnout because the call volume was a significant point in our history that has kind of compounded the issues that we were already facing.
And just have never really recovered, have we? I mean, it's difficult now to find those people that want to go into that field.
It is. Yeah, again, it takes education. So even trying to replenish that supply of nurses, you're talking 4-year degrees.
Exactly.
It takes a little while to catch up.
Yeah.
Even paramedics, it takes a good 2+ years to get those licensures. So as you're looking and trying to find those people who are willing and able to get through those educational systems to add them to the job pool, it takes time.
Talking to one of the people on our commission or on our panel committee the other day, made the comment that they can be hired up here for $30 an hour and tomorrow go work in Oklahoma City for $40 an hour. So the ability to keep them is also compounded by they can go somewhere else tomorrow and have another job.
Absolutely. It's very competitive. When you get in not just regional, it's not just a state of Oklahoma thing. Like I said, it's all across the country. So when you get into a competitive situation like that, a lot of the big organizations that have a little bit better funding, or they're doing anything they can to grab more personnel to make their systems work. It's not just an hourly difference. I've heard stories of some of these groups are paying $5,000 hiring bonuses.
Really?
So for an employee to come and spend, there's attachments. You got to stay there a year or whatever. But for somebody who's willing to move and drive to work a little bit, that's a pretty easy grab for the money, and it does hurt some of the smaller systems.
But it's not just staffing issues, is it? I mean, I listed just very quickly a whole list trying to determine where the response area is.
Yes.
Right? Because your team isn't just inside the city limits, are you?
Correct.
And I mean, we service about 3-mile radius outside of our city limits, which takes in a lot of homes, doesn't it?
It does, absolutely.
Then you get into, well, do our ambulance services need to run out there? Do they need to go farther than that? Are we going to go out to 3 miles and stop? And there's a house that needs us 1 more mile up. I mean, there's all kinds of issues with what area are they going to service?
Absolutely. Not only that, you want to try to provide as much coverage as you can to everyone, but like I say, the farther you get away from, your revenue source, you're starting to talk about dollars per mile at that point, because every mile increases the amount of time, response time to and from that vehicle has to recover for the next call. So the farther they drive, the longer it takes for it to get back in service.
That's right.
So that stretches
Which brings up my
resources.
very next topic, response times. Man, we want our ambulances there fast, right? People are in need. They're having heart attacks. I mean, just all kinds of things. They need them there right at that moment. Well, if they've run to somewhere else in Garfield County and they can't make it back,
right?
I mean, it compounds itself over and over and over.
Absolutely, and I know this conversation is going to lead to some of these things, but this is kind of a fast forward answer. But you try to determine what resources you need to cover your needs. You don't want to overstaff because then you're being wasteful of the money and wasteful of your resources. So, I mean, even if we were to say we needed 5 ambulances in this town, there's days where 5 wouldn't be enough. So trying to figure out that balance of need versus practical, staffing and how to operate that, it is definitely a challenge.
And I know your team, along with Jimmy's team, are trying to figure out when they have most of these calls. They can look at that on charts and say, well, maybe we need 5 units from this time to this time on a Saturday evening, and make sure that staff is balanced out, because you're right. It wouldn't be feasible to have 5 trucks sitting there 7 days a week.
Absolutely. Yeah, Jimmy with Life EMS, Matt Miller with Miller EMS, all of our committee members, we're working with members, hospital staff, doctors, hospital administrators. We've all come together on this committee to put our heads together on this because finding that balance is a challenge. We've always operated under what we call a volume-based system, meaning we think, they just said X number of trucks every day, no matter what. And we've decided that probably doesn't allow the operator the flexibility to operate efficiently, using their resource to the best of their ability. So what we're talking about right now is trying to design a performance-based system where they just have to meet a standard response time, a certain quality of care, and if they're meeting those standards, then they can determine how many trucks they have on a Tuesday night or a Wednesday afternoon, so that they can operate efficiently and, again, reduce wear and tear on the vehicles.
That's right.
Their overhead,
That's right.
wear and tear on personnel, things like that.
Yeah. One of the big issues that we're getting into now, as we work through all these problems with trying to come up with a good ambulance service, is funding. How do you pay for this? Boy, it is not cheap, is it?
Nothing in this world is anymore.
Nothing.
Right.
I laughed. I told you the other day, I didn't realize what some of these vehicles cost until I started buying fire trucks and ladder trucks.
Yes, sir.
Holy cow. I mean, they are very, very proud of those things. And once again, we go back to COVID. You can draw a line on a spreadsheet and see from what they cost us prior to that to now.
Absolutely. Emergency service vehicles definitely changed around COVID. Again, they had personnel shortages. Resources were hard to come by. So statistically, in the past, emergency vehicle manufacturing would go up 3, maybe 4% on average a year. Post-COVID, they were putting out 3 to 5% increases twice a year. So it definitely had an impact.
Yeah. Which means those ambulances that we see out there, they're not cheap.
No, sir.
And keep all those staffs that we were talking about. I mean, it costs a lot of money to have an ambulance service large enough to handle 53,000 people and the surrounding area.
Yeah, some of the estimates we're looking at right now is that it costs close to somewhere in the ballpark of about $500,000 just to have an ambulance with 2 personnel on it operating 24 hours a day.
For one unit.
For one unit.
Yeah, yeah.
So, absolutely.
So where do those funds come from? I mean,
not enough places, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Their resources for revenue come from their patients. They try to bill the patient's insurance, Medicare in a lot of cases, but they have to try and go and collect those. And just like anybody who goes to the hospital, you see your hospital bill. Sometimes your claim gets denied, things like that. So they have challenges with that. But a lot of people just don't have insurance, and so a lot of the runs, and they don't get to decide if they transport a patient or not. So a lot of the runs they do knowing they're not going to get paid. And when they do bill, Medicare payouts are so low that they're taking a loss on a lot of those too. So their collections are very
That's one of those deals that's out of their control.
Absolutely.
They don't get to pick how much Medicare is going to pay.
No, or who they take.
Or who they take.
Right.
Yeah. I also didn't realize, until I sat on this committee, that when something happens at a home and you pick up the phone, you call 911, everybody's dispatched, and they get out there. Well, now Mom feels much better.
Yeah.
Right? So, all right, I think she's going to be fine. And they don't take her, even though they've made the run, the whole deal, they get paid $0 on that.
That's right.
So, yeah.
It's not a pretty business model.
No, it is not. And I'm learning that the deeper I get into this.
Yeah.
A couple more issues that we were talking about are like hospital wait times. When we put an incentive in that's performance-based, because we want our ambulance to be on scene within 9 minutes, say, or 8 minutes and 59 seconds, and they're on scene, that all works well unless they've just taken someone to the hospital and they can't offload them because a bed's not ready yet.
Yeah, we're trying to gather some more statistics on that. Right now, it's not perfectly clear how that's working. Again, like we mentioned a while ago, all of emergency services, hospital staffs are all struggling a little bit right now. But yeah, the logistical challenges for them of moving people in and out of the hospitals does seem to have some effect on their turnaround times. And you got to remember, a lot of people that go to the hospital by ambulance don't have another way back home. So the ambulances a lot of times will have to return them to their home, return them to the nursing home. That's very common.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so when they're discharged, that ambulance is having to run twice for each person a lot of those calls. So we're trying to figure out and see exactly how those turnarounds are impacting the ambulance service and things like that. But we're going to collect more data. We're going to make sure we understand. And again, like you said, we've been working on this for close to a year now. Good change doesn't happen fast. We want to fully understand the situation from all sides so we make good decisions on how to build this system for the future.
One more issue, and then we'll close this out, that I didn't fully understand either was when a hospital needs a patient transported because we don't have a specialist or the person that they need or the equipment that they need in Enid, and they call an ambulance and say, hey, we need them taken to Integris or whatever, another hospital down in Oklahoma City.
Right.
Our ambulance leaves and dispatches over there, picks them up. Now, that's an hour and a half ride down there. If they have to wait any amount of time before they offload them, they have to probably at some point have lunch if they take them down there, or get fuel and head back.
Right.
So that can be a 4 or 5 hour turnaround.
Yes.
That if we only have 2 units, now one of them's out of town. Right?
Yeah, and so that goes back to your staffing problem. Ideally, the ambulance service tries to call in a crew to run either in their place or take that transport to the city or Tulsa, Wichita, wherever they're going. But you're right, it's about an average of turnaround time of about 4 hours. So you're taking crews who have already been working 80 hours this week. They've already worked a lot of overtime, asking them to come in for more overtime, which a lot of times they either can't or won't, and nobody can blame them if they're already hitting 80 hours that week. So yeah, it creates a backlog that just cannot be avoided. And so a lot of times we feel like we end up with an ambulance short in town, and that's what we're trying to avoid.
And those are just a few of the issues that we're dealing with on
just a
this
few.
committee.
If your show was 3 hours long, we might be able to cover half of them.
Yeah. I guess, and the main reason I wanted you to come on was I just want the general public to know that we're working on it.
Yes.
And that we are going to make some changes.
Absolutely.
We're going to have to figure out the revenue. I mean, we cannot increase all this staff and services without funds coming from somewhere.
Right.
So that will be happening. And to also know that those challenges are bigger than just going and buying another truck.
Yes.
That would be simple, right?
It would be, yeah.
But I am glad that you are spearheading this. You were the logical one. You're kind of in that business anyway, to an extent, a first responder, and we appreciate you taking the lead on that. Just the amount of data that we've looked at and gone over and we'll continue to work on. But you're right, we do want to make changes soon, but we also want them to be the right changes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think we'll get there. And more than anything, I want people to know this isn't just an Enid problem.
Not at all.
I mean, we had a consultant come in, Steve Athey, come in and look at our system. He was saying it's an issue that they're having across the entire United States.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, we kind of felt like we were in a bubble here, like we were doing something wrong. And give credit where credit is due. Life EMS has been making it work a lot longer than than anybody probably typically could have.
And a good point on that, we've never subsidized them at all.
That's where I've been going. That's where I was going to go with it is we are the only community that is not subsidizing their ambulance service.
Yes.
It's due to their efforts to avoid that, but we've gone far enough now. It has to be addressed. But nationwide, the number of communities that subsidize their ambulance service is overwhelming. It's just common practice, and we have not had to do that yet. So we're very fortunate in that aspect. So change changes do need to be made, and we're going to look at all possibilities and do our homework and make sure we do this right.
Yeah. No one needs an emergency vehicle until they need it.
Right. And then you need it a while ago.
Then you need it yesterday.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Chief, there's a lot of issues to overcome. I'm convinced that the committee will get there, and I appreciate once again your leadership on this and encouraging all of us even 2 years ago that this is coming. We've got to figure this out, and I'm glad we're finally on that and getting to that point. So would you come back another time when we've made some more progress and explain what we're doing, why we're doing it? And I think the citizens will understand as we go along. But we've got to figure this issue out.
Yeah, agree. And as we go along, we can kind of narrow down all the information we've been looking at and be able to report to the community where we were, how we're going to get to where we need to be. And I appreciate your support, City Manager. Everybody's been great. The committee that we put together is working really hard on this, and everybody's got a common goal. So it's awesome.
We even have a couple of representatives from communities outside of Enid that said, hey, whatever it takes, we want to be a part of it.
Yes.
Because we can't be without ambulance service, which I think speaks volumes right there.
It really does. The rural communities are no different than us. They've got their set of challenges, and we'll just see how all this comes out in the wash. But hopefully our model, if nothing else, helps them decide where they're going to go with theirs. We're just going to have to decide as a community what's best for us.
I agree. Well, Chief, thanks again for being on today. Please don't hesitate to send in questions that you might have. You can always send those in to askmason@enid.org. I'll never use your name, but we'll always try to answer all those questions to the very best of our ability. If I don't know the answer, I'll certainly find someone that does know. So with that being said, we'll close out today. Enjoy the rest of your week and enjoy Enid.